In this video, I'm going to explain R programming data type. R has a variety of data types and object classes. In R programming, there are several data types that can be used to represent different kinds of data. Some of the common data types in R include numeric. This data type is used to represent numeric values such as integers and decimal numbers you can represent. Let us see that how we can write the input program in R programming for the numeric data. A tends to 45, B tends to 0.75. Then you can see that output will be obtained for A and B. If you enter A and B, these values, output values are obtained as a 45 and 0.75. So this is the numeric data. So this numeric data, either the integers or decimal numbers you can represent. This is the one type of data. Second, character. This data type is used to represent text data such as names or sentences. Character values are always enclosed in quotation marks. See that input, if T tends to Ramu, S tends to Ramu is a good boy. See, it may be the use the name or it may be use the sentence as a variable assigned to this. So, T is a variable assigned to Ramu and S is the sentence Ramu is a good boy assigned to S. Now if we see that input to program, if we enter like this and T and S and after enter, the output will be displayed like this. So that is Ramu, for T is Ramu and S is Ramu is a good boy. So these are representing the character. Next, integer. In R programming, the integer data type is used to represent whole numbers without decimal points. Integers are a subset of the numeric data type and they can be positive, negative or zero value. So to create an integer variable in R, you can use the as.integer function or the L suffix function. So note that R automatically converts integer to the numeric or numeric to the integers. Now let us see that how the syntax is used for integer in R programming. You see that input x tends to as dot integer within the bracket 5, y tends to as dot integer within the bracket minus 6, z tends to as dot integer within the bracket 0. That means here positive value, negative value, 0 value. Similarly, you can assign variable A tends to 10L, B tends to minus 25L, C tends to 0L. So you can represent the integer as a function as dot integer of value, or you can represent simply the capital letter L that is suffix to that number that indicates the integer. Now let us see that if we give like this, then the output will be obtained. So that output will be obtained. The 5, the x value is 5 and y value is minus 6, z is 0 and a is 10, b is minus 25, c is 0. Okay. So once if you're giving the input data, output data will be available like this. This is for the integer type of data you can handle like this. Next, complex data. So this data type is used to store complex numbers which have real and imaginary part. So the numbers may be representing the real and imaginary. Then you can use this complex data type. You can use this complex data type. Now let us see that simple input function x tends to 9i plus 3. So now here 3 is the real part and 9 is the imaginary part. So if you want to know what is that type of variable, you can use this function class of that x. Then it gives that that data type is a complex. You see that output will be obtained as a complex. Okay. So likewise, if unknown data type also, if you want to know, you can use simply the class function. You can able to know that what the type of data that is. It may be the numeric or character or integer or complex or logical like this. Now let us see that another one is logical data type. So this data type used to tell whether the given condition or statement is true or false. That logic you can use the true or false. You see that the input x tends to true. The class of action form x that function output you can see that logical. This is the logical type. Next, we can use the class function to check the data type of a variable. So now just now I have seen use the class whether it is integer or complex or real, that we can able to know using this class function. Now let us see that some of the input functions used in R programming. X tends to 10.5. So it's a numeric data. The class of X, that is the what the data you can see that output will be obtained as a numeric. Similarly, X tends to 1000 L, it's integer. So class X is you can able to know that. Once I complete all these input, I want to show the output value. So X tends to 9i plus 3. So it is a complex. X tends to R is exciting. So class X. X tends to true, logical. Now the output for these input functions are like this. Okay. For first function, that is in numeric, and the second one is integer, and the third one is a complex, and fourth one is a character, and fifth one is a logical function. Likewise, what type of function you can able to know by using this class function. Next, the type conversion. You can convert from one form of the type to the another with the following functions. So use these functions, you can convert one form into the another form as dot numeric, as dot integer, as dot complex. So using these functions, you can convert one form function to the another form. So whether you want numeric data or integer data or complex data, use these functions to convert. You see that the input just given x tends to 1L, this is integer, and y tends to 2 numeric. So convert from integer to numeric. Then a tends to as dot numeric of x. So the convert from numeric to the integer. B tends to as dot integer y. So the print the values of x and y, you can put x and y, the values will be obtained 1 and 2. Again, if print the class name of a and b, that class is also you can display numeric and integer. Likewise, so we have to convert one form to the another form using these functions as dot numeric, as dot integer, as dot complex. These are the types of data conversion you generally use it in the R programming. I hope all of you understand these few data types in R programming.